Hi everyone, in this video we are going to learn about OpenAPI, formerly known as Swagger. So what is OpenAPI? To understand this, let's consider a scenario where a developer has completed writing the REST API and is ready for the consumer to make use of it. But how will the consumer get all the information about the API, like the endpoint URL, parameters that needs to be passed in the request headers, etc. All this information needs to be available to the client so that the client can make use of the REST API. If no information about the API is provided to the client, then basically, the REST API is of no use, right? So we need to prepare some kind of document that has all the metadata of our REST APIs. And this document is then passed onto the client, and then the client can make use of it and invoke the REST API. Mostly the file format is either JSON or YML. So OpenAPI is one of the documentation tools that we can use to document all our REST APIs. Okay. As of 2020, the current version is OpenAPI 3.0. Okay. And Swagger can not only be used as an API documentation, but it can also be used for API development and as well as API designing. Okay, but mostly it is used for API documentation. Now, if we are using SOAP-based web services, we know that WSDL is used for documentation. Whereas in RESTful web services, there is no particular standard specification to document our REST APIs. Okay, so one being OpenAPI, and we also have something in Spring ecosystem, a project called Spring REST Docs, which we can use to document the REST APIs. Okay, so let's jump on to our implementation of OpenAPI in our RESTful web service application.